Hey everyone, hope we're all doing well today, kicking some goals and everything. Just wanted to jump on and give you my thoughts on where Bitcoin is at currently, and run you through a bit of a market scan and show you some of the coins I'm looking at. First of all, just going to start with Bitcoin here. This is Bitcoin on the daily. As we all know, we had this massive downtrend for quite some time, and then we kind of plateaued here for quite a while. And then the beginning of the new year, we had this spike here, which is kind of causing us to come up to the previous highs here. But I would be wary with these lines here because we could be looking at a potential double top, and then continue back down to the lows that were at previously. On the RSI as well, you can see that we were quite oversold on the daily. So a pretty decent correction, I think, is expected at this point. If we take a look at the most recent price action, we've got this downtrend that's coming down this way quite nicely. And right now we're sitting at a pretty crucial area of support. So if you are looking at doing any shorts, I would be very, very cautious about what you're going to do. Just check your trade plan, make sure all your key opportunities come up before you enter a trade. But because we've hit this major support zone here, we do have some buyers coming into the market as expected. But one thing I'm looking at personally, I am expecting it to probably come up to this trend line again and then continue back to the downside. So this is how I'm positioning most of my next trades. I'm going to look to see what happens on this retrace, and then if we get the falling hammer or the bearish engulfing, then potentially look at entering the trade from there, or even wait until this break of support has happened, retested there, definite confirmation that we're going to continue to the downside, and then that's where I'll likely place my orders there. As I said, just waiting to see what happens here with Bitcoin as it is starting to retrace a little bit. Let's take a quick look at Ethereum. Similar sort of thing has happened there. So we had this break to the downside here on the support zone, and now we're getting a retrace back up. This is a pretty good horseshoe, one of the trades that Jason talks about quite often. So if there's a massive drop, always wait for the retrace and see what happens. So essentially you want to find a major level where price has been held previously. So this was previously support. As you can see, quite a lot of bounces here, and then it eventually broke. As you can see here on the fibs level, it lines up almost perfectly with the 50 fibs. So I'll wait and see what happens here before jumping into any trades. But based on this, hoping that it will retrace and then get a bullish engulfing or something to the downside. A lot of the coins are pretty similar to that. Just had major breaks and now waiting to see what happens in the short term. This is 1 inch, got a sort of symmetrical triangle here. Based on the market structure, we do have multiple lower lows as we ride down this trend here. So based on this, I would probably expect to see a break of this trend and continue to the downside. There might be a short opportunity here as it breaks there. So wait for it to break this trend here and then this support zone and see what happens here and then continue to the downside. This is one of the ones I'm looking out for. I personally will wait until it gets to the lower levels though, because that's more of a major level. As you can see here on the 1 hour, it's held its resistance there, then broke through shortly, resistance again, and then support through these levels here. So this is considered quite a busy area where price action is likely going to be. So wait to see what happens. As I said, we may just break straight through, retest the continuation, or continue to the upside. But again, don't jump into anything, wait and see what happens. Aave, similar sort of thing. Actually, no, we're going to skip that one. AGLD, it's a bit of a head and shoulders pattern here for me, with the downtrend here as well. So things are looking quite nice here. What I'm going to look for is, first of all, a break of this support level. That's right about there. Break of that support level, and then looking at a retest, but seeing what's going to happen in this area here as well. Obviously, this trend has been respected quite well, so it may just continue to the upside and keep going from there. But as I said, most of my positions I'm looking for are short positions, just based on what the market is currently doing. Here we go, another one here. So again, this is ANT or ANT. Just broken this support zone here and then retraced back up to this major liquidation zone here. So we may grind into it a little bit before heading back down, but still waiting to see what happens here at these critical points. Like I said, we may continue to keep going and just break to the upside, but I would expect to be quite a lot of selling volume coming in here, and hopefully we get a bearish engulfing or a hammer to the downside, and then we can play it from there to see what happens. AVAX, similar sort of thing, just waiting to see what happens till it gets up to here. Again, I'm not looking at entering any trades until it actually breaks and holds below this support line, and then potentially look at entering off a retest. Well, again, similar sort of thing here. Just waiting to see what happens with the retrace. Right now, it's just approaching that 618 level. So this could be a pretty good area to look at getting into a short, but again, we're just going to wait to see what happens. It may push straight through and keep going, or it may hit that and reject it, keep going to the downside. I personally wouldn't enter here. I would like to see another lower low break through this support, just because that risk reward is just not good enough for what I like to see. What have we got? BCH. Huge downtrend that's been forming on this one for quite some time now. Its last high was at the start of the month, and we're nearly 2 weeks in. So based on these levels, this was pretty well supported, this level, as it came through. And again, a pretty good resistance zone back here. So this is a pretty significant level here, one that I'm watching for quite closely. Now, because it's held up quite well in the past, and it is doing so again here, I would definitely wait to see what's going to happen here. See if we break above this last high there and break the downtrend. If we do, then we could potentially come up, retest that, and then keep going. But again, wait to see what happens, because there is quite a lot of down pressure on this trend line as well. So that's one trade that I'm going to look at, or see what happens here and then continue to the downside. So at the moment, just a waiting game, see what happens within this zone. As Jason says, you can zoom down to the small timelines and see what's happening on the small time frames. That gives you a bit better idea of what's going to happen in the short term. So just like any other market structure, you see what's happening. So as you can see here, we had this double bottom here, bit of bullish divergence on the RSI as well, and then we're getting this higher low. So potentially we could be looking at a breakout here. Again, waiting to see what happens, see if it closes above and then holds, and then we could see a continuation to the upside. What do we got here? CFX. Similar sort of thing here. Guys, look, a lot of these coins are all pretty similar, just sort of waiting to see what happens in the short term. Like I said, don't force trades, wait to see what happens, wait to see what the market tells you before you make any decisions. Don't jump into a trade just because you think it's what's going to happen. Always wait for your confirmations. So a lot of these are going to be pretty similar. I do generally run through my charts as often as possible and find the few that I like, and highlight those and then come back and reassess them again. That way I'm only concentrating on ones that may actually turn out to be profitable, rather than trying to find trades out of every single coin in the market, because as you know, there's quite a lot. Engine or ENJ. This one here I quite like the look of as well. Again, we've had that break of support, and we do have quite a decent support area here. As you can see, it's held up there. Again, here, and resistance over here. So this is again a pretty significant zone. So right now we've got a bit of bullish action coming in. So I'm just going to wait to see what happens if it tests that area and then retrace with a bearish engulfing, or we may just break straight through and then continuation to the upside. But again, not considering entering this trade until we get up to this area here. Set your alerts if you need, and yeah, come back once it's hit those areas. ETC, similar sort of thing. So actually hitting the level right now. The key thing to keep an eye on is what happens right at these zones. So we're just testing the 618 now. We may just get, again, a push through to the upside and continuation, or we could get a rejection here with a bearish engulfing and then hopefully continuation to the downside. So again, just let it play out, see what happens with candlestick formations. And then once you've got a bit more information, then you can make some ideas on which way you're going to trade. Filecoin. Again, we've got this pretty solid downtrend. We've just tested these lows here. And again, another scenario where we've got a slightly bullish divergence. Again, lower low on the RSI and then a higher low on the RSI is a good indication that we are going to have a potential turnaround, whether it's long-term, short-term, who knows. But again, this is only on the 1 hour timeline, so it's not going to be a huge amount of confirmation bias. So this is kind of what I'm expecting. Come up and retest this trend line, may even make a double top here, and then continue to the downside, and then retest and keep going. FTM. Again, similar thing here. Just wait to see what happens, guys. We get literally no reasons to jump into the market. There's always going to be other opportunities. So just wait to see what happens. And what I'm looking for again here, maybe retesting this trend line and then heading back down to the downside. GMT. We'll use Stefanos out there if there is any. I got the slight bullish confirmation on the RSI, followed with a bullish candlestick here. But again, get out your fibs, see where those levels are and what's going on. So the 50 or the 618 are pretty good levels here. In these cases, I do like to put in a bit of a zone that I like to work with. And this happens quite a lot as well, when there's no one set area on a chart where you can see it's, this is 100% the right area. These zones are quite handy. I call them liquidation areas, which is essentially when the price is in here, it's all just fuzz up and down, up and down, up and down. And then you make your decisions when you get to the other side of the zones here. GRT. Maybe a double bottom, but it's too early to tell, considering we are in this pretty heavy downtrend here. And since testing these levels here, not a whole lot of volume coming in either. So I wouldn't be confident that this is going to go up and break that and continue to the upside. I would more think that we're going to retrace just a little bit, test this, and then continue to the downside. But again, wait and see what happens. Here we've got a higher high on the 4 hour, followed by a bullish engulfing. So still bullish on H bar, but I wouldn't be looking at doing anything until we either fall below here or get above there. Market structure is always key when you're looking at finding new trades. So unless you've got good and clear market structure, there's really no way to tell what way it's going to go. So right now we've got a high high, a high low. We are struggling to get back up, but that could keep going and either make a double top and then come back down, or we could get that high high, come back down, retest that low again, and then keep going. But again, just wait, see what happens, and then make your decisions after that. LTC, just another level I'm watching here. Again, this is why we don't FOMO into trades. Before here, it did look like it was going to close below, and then probably 15 minutes before the end of the 4-hour close, we shot straight back up here, and now we're going back to the upside. So again, these levels are always very significant. Don't enter the trade until you're 100% certain of what's going on. Matic. Similar sort of thing here. Broken to the downside with quite a bit of volume as well. Now we're retracing. Now this is pretty solid support resistance zones here, but because it doesn't quite line up with any relevant areas on the fibs, I generally do something like this, see what lines up better, just to try and get that risk reward appetite a little bit better. So that's probably the first level I'll look at, the 50. Set an alert in here somewhere just to see what happens when what's going on when the price gets up to there. And again, look at something like this. But it all depends on what's going on up here as well. With these types of trades as well, where it is a retrace and then touching either the 50 or the 618 levels, and we've got some lower lows down here, but I'm chasing the take profit that's further down. What I'll do is I'll generally put in a line like that and put in a couple of take profit zones. So enter here, continue down, take some of your profits there, and then hopefully it keeps going, closes your trade. Take profits are quite important in terms of trading, especially if you are going for those longer, higher percentage trades. Anything generally over 8 to 10% is probably where you want to start putting in multiple take profits, especially if your risk reward is sort of 4 to 1 or more. There's no point trying to chase that one large trade. Just manage the trade better and focus on getting those small wins, because any profit is better than a loss essentially. OPS, what is it? USDT. Similar sort of thing here. Big dump on the 4-hour. Now testing these lows. Just waiting to see what happens here, whether it's going to retrace and then reject, or up, down, up. Again, just wait for confirmation. Confirmation is always key. I've got REN. Similar sort of thing, same with everything else. Just wait till it gets to these levels before you make a decision. I don't personally like to trade in these ranges. I usually wait to see what's going to happen, whether it's going to break out before I jump into a trade, because more times than not, you will see it come up here, break, and then reject pretty quickly. So I always like to see what happens when it's going to break, hopefully hold, and then maybe give it 1 or 2 candles more just to see whether it's going to actually hold up there. Okay, similar sort of thing here with the retracing, just see what happens. This one I don't personally love, just because on the 4-hour we do have quite a lot of buyers coming in down here. So based on that, there is still a bit of bullishness going on in the market. I would like to see some pretty solid wicks to the downside, maybe a bearish engulfing, just to get some more sellers coming into the market, just to get those confirmations. KL. This is another one that's had a huge moon pump. Now it's heading back down to where it was previously. Just wait to see what happens here. Obviously, could always start retracing beforehand, but more likely it's going to come back down to here at least, potentially keep going down. But based on these large amounts of volume that came in as it broke it last time, I'm going to hedge my bets and say that there's probably going to be quite a lot of buyers just waiting here as well. So again, set your alerts, wait till things get a little bit closer, see what's happening. But essentially, you don't really want to look at entering this trade if it's going to be a long until we've broken that downtrend, because it could always hit down here, bounce back up, then straight back down again. So again, always wait for those confirmations. Write them out, whatever they might be for you, always refer to them. Look at them as many times as you need, say them out loud, whatever it takes. Just make sure you're always running through your trade plan and reconfirming what your trade plan is in your mind. So then it just becomes second nature as you look at the charts, essentially. Again, more downtrend. Level. Again, just waiting to see what happens here, guys. Same thing again. Coming down to test this support level, just wait and see what happens. Again, could always just break to the upside and continue, but wait to see what happens after the candle close. That's pretty much all I've got my eyes on for the moment, guys. I'm going to try and do these as often as possible. Every day doesn't allow me to do it, but I'll try and get on these as often as I can. Let me know what you think. If there's anything you like, let me know. I will try and do more of it. Anything you don't like, let me know. I'll try and do less of it. But yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Hope you have a great day, and chat to you all soon.